So I'll hand it over to them.
All right, thank you, Emma. So we are the LA Management System team. My name is Aaron Friesen. I'm joined by Ethan Weber.
Hello.
And our sponsors were Dr. Samal and Dr. Koopmann and the rest of the Learning Assistant program. So we'll go ahead and get started with our presentation here. So, yep, as I just said, our sponsor is the School of Computing, specifically the Learning Assistant program, namely program coordinators Dr. Samal and Koopmann, as well as some other people who supported them, namely the senior leaders, Grayson, Laurel, and also Ryan Lamp from last semester. And the main goal of the system here is to allow learning assistants to evaluate their peers. That was the main subsystem we added, so learning assistants can fill out evaluations for each other, their course leaders, their program coordinators, and the program as a whole. And that'll just help the program gain feedback and improve. So our stakeholders, as we said, we have our learning assistant program coordinators, and as also said here, we also have the learning assistants being the main users of the system. The system is also used by students for scheduling and by the admins, of course, for creating the surveys, etc. So the main use case, though, as we said, is for the learning assistants, for the evaluation system in particular. So this is the team that worked on the system. So I was the squad lead and product manager. Ethan was the development manager. We were joined by Zhuwei, Joel, and Dan, who were developers on the project. We also had Noah Costello, who was our development manager and squad lead for the first half of the project, but was not with us during the second semester. And we had Jeffrey Falkenberg as our tribe lead and William Browning as our product manager. So the vision here was to enable a much easier system for the learning assistants and the program coordinators to solicit feedback about the program and about other people in the program, the LAs. And the main way we did that was by adding this evaluation system that provided a way to send, receive, and modify feedback forms. So kind of a Google Forms-like interface, but better integrated into the existing databases that showed the different relationships between the LAs and the courses, et cetera. So overall, our goal is to make the experience better for first-year computing students and those in the introductory CS classes, and to help them improve their success in those courses. So as I said, our solution here is to make an evaluation system that will allow the program coordinators to create flexible forms using a custom form builder that will integrate within the rest of the application and the database. Include the dashboard to manage the evaluations, including features like exporting, archiving, and scheduling reminders. And it also allows those reminders to be sent by email, so the learning assistants are informed of those surveys they have to fill out. And then once those responses come in, they can go and view the individual responses as well as summary data and visualizations of that data. And I'll pass it off to Ethan to talk about some of these specific pages on the site and to describe the solution built in more detail.
Thank you. So yeah, first up here, we have the index view for the evaluations. This is what admins are able to see on their end to view the existing evaluations that are active. It's noted by active evaluations at the top of the page, as well as archived evaluations that were used for previous semesters. So yeah, you can see there's a few active evaluations here, for example. It displays like the name of the evaluation and a description for it. On the right-hand side, you'll see it also specifies the author of the evaluation. If it is assigned to any courses, it'll display that there. You can see the open and close dates and some additional metadata for them as well. And then finally, on the right-hand column, you can see some additional actions available. There is the ability to send on-demand reminders, the ability to duplicate an evaluation. So for example, if you had one that you used in a previous semester and wanted to reuse it again, you wouldn't be able to edit the previous one because that would already have responses attached to it. But you could duplicate it so that you could receive new responses on this one. There is a button to archive an evaluation. And finally, there's one to generate or to export CSV data from an evaluation. So yeah, that is this first screenshot here. Next up, this is the create and shared update page for an evaluation. So this is what an admin will see when they're going in to create an evaluation. They can specify all those details that I just mentioned. They have a few additional options here, such as roles and roles being evaluated. So if they wanted just a general evaluation where they wanted to receive feedback, they could specify roles or leave it empty. And if they wanted specific users to evaluate their peers or others in the program, for example, if a learning assistant was assigned to evaluate some of their senior leaders, the admins could set that up through that second roles being evaluated field. So this is the top half of creating an evaluation with some of that metadata that I've discussed. And then I think, okay, it doesn't look like it's shown here, but on the bottom half, you can kind of see, although it's cut off, there's a big white open space where the admins can drag and drop different form elements from the right-hand side of the screen to set up this evaluation, fill in the details about what kind of questions are going to be asked, and et cetera. Next up here, this is the evaluation response page. So this is what the users who are responding to an evaluation will see. It won't really show any of that metadata that's shown at the top of the evaluation create page. This is all of the questions that the admins will be able to set up inside such an evaluation. So you can see there's some different types of questions available. The top one here, throughout this semester, have they given you sufficient feedback on your performance in grading in labs? So that might be like a yes or no question where they can answer true or false. The second one, which gauges how well your CL has been able to answer your questions, would be like a number input. So for example, if they wanted to gauge your response from 1 to 10 or something along those lines, that would be the user would be able to input a number, and additional data types are available as well. So this is the evaluation response page. Next up here, this is the statistics page for evaluations. So after responses have been received, the admins are able to go in and view a detailed breakdown of all of the data that they have received for an evaluation. So you can see at the top of the page there, the respondents label shows how many people have responded to an evaluation out of how many are eligible to respond, and also puts that in a percent format. Next, we have a tab panel here where you can see a breakdown of the data, either all of the data, so it'll just obviously display everything available, or you can also view it broken down by course. So in the screenshot, we have some example courses set up for computer science, such as like 401 and 402, which don't necessarily map to real world courses, but are just used as an example. Next, in this central table here, you can view how many people have responded on a question by question basis. For example, if some questions are not actually required, they can be skipped. And finally, you can view additional details such as like a distribution of the responses and a detailed table with all the individual responses. So last up for values and highlights here. So this new system addresses the sponsor's need for a detailed and streamlined way of conducting evaluations, and it will be able to replace their previous Google Forms workflow. Most of our team was new to web development at the start of this project, and over the course of the year, we've learned a lot about it. All right, well, that concludes our presentation then. Thank you, everyone.
Well done, guys.
Thank you.